Hi. Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to our community conversation here in Legislative District 20. I am Judy Schwiebert, and I started these weekly posts of our conversations with people in our community because we have so many folks who are truly everyday heroes doing great work right here in our own community. And I just wanted to raise awareness of some of the people and the great work that they are doing. This is Teacher Appreciation Week, and so I am especially excited to have as my guest a teacher, Amber Gould, who is an English teacher and student council advisor at Greenway High School, and is also the president of the Glendale Union Education Association. So welcome, Amber. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you, Judy. I'm excited for this conversation.
Absolutely. So I'd like to start off by just asking my guests a little bit about themselves. Tell us a little bit about where you grew up and how you wound up becoming a teacher at Greenway High School.
Well, I grew up in LD20, went to the public schools from elementary all the way through high school, actually graduated from the Glendale Union High School District. Originally, I did not want to be a teacher. I didn't have any interest in going into education, but as I went through college and I continued taking different classes, I kind of fell in love with it. And what's interesting though is, that's how I got into education, but the union work started about the same time, because when I told my mother that I wanted to go into education, she told me no. And the reason for that was because she was also a teacher, and knew the long hours that she put in and the work that she put in and the lack of respect that we got from like our state legislature and things like that. And so it was difficult for her to have her daughter go into this field as well. Mm-hmm. But that's when I decided, I need to find a way to also fix it. And so that's where I fell into the association work. And I am very fortunate that I was able to join the National Education Association and the Arizona Education Association as a college student. I was able to take on some leadership roles at that level. And when I was hired by my district, it was an easy fit for me to just slide into our Glendale Union Education Association, and I've been doing a lot of work with them ever since. And today I am very privileged to serve as the local president and be able to really raise the voice of our teachers and our education support professionals in our district.
Mm-hmm. And you were telling me earlier that you really have a great relationship with the district administration team as well.
Yeah, we are very fortunate in that in our district we all have the same goals, and that is to make sure that every single student has a great quality public education, and both the Glendale Union Education Association and our district administrators. I mean, we work towards that every single day, and the decisions that we make are solely based on that. And so when you have a district that works on that level, and the collaboration and communication that takes place between the union and the district, I mean, it honestly, it's perfect. It goes hand in hand as far as making sure that we're doing what's best for our kids.
Absolutely. And congratulations, by the way. I saw that recently U.S. News and World Report named all of the Glendale Union schools as top public high schools in the United States. So that's awesome.
Yes, that was really neat to see. And the Glendale Union High School District is normally listed pretty high on that list. So we're excited that the work of all of the people in our district have really pushed us forward, and that our students really get a benefit from the amount of work and love and heart that everyone puts into making sure that Glendale Union is a great place for our kids.
Wonderful. Well, just tell me briefly what it's like to be a teacher on a day-to-day basis at Greenway High School these days.
Well, to be a teacher at Greenway High School these days it's a lot of fun, let me tell you. Right now with social distancing and distance learning, it's not as fun, I'm going to be honest, but when we got to be able to meet face to face, I was able to start my day with student council, which was always a blast because those kids are the heart of what we do. and they have always been very focused on our community, doing community service projects, doing spirit events on campus. And so being able to start your day with that high energy group and that type of student leadership is frankly phenomenal. And then, of course, moving on to the rest of my day as an English teacher, being able to work with kids through literature and introduce them to different cultures and different places around the world through a book is an amazing experience, not just for me, but hopefully for them as well. And we throw some grammar in there too.
Absolutely, you got to do that. Well, I know from experience, because I was once an English teacher at Greenway High School, that it also requires really long hours. So when are you usually done with your day of work?
Well, are we talking homecoming week or during normal times of the year? Homecoming, I feel like I live on campus. You know, it depends, but I mean, we probably, I know that in my hallway, my building, the teachers that are staying after, I mean, we probably don't clear that building till probably 5, 6 o'clock. A lot of our teachers are also coaches, or they're sponsoring clubs on top of grading or teaching AP classes, or, you know, having to go to IEP meetings. So that's individual education plans for some of our special ed students. And when you are a public school and we're here to teach every single kid, that means that every single kid gets a great quality public education, and we're putting in that work for them. And so yeah, so I mean, it varies, and there'll be days where I'm there from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. There'll be days that, you know, you're there till 9 o'clock at night, depending on what's going on campus, because you're also there supporting kids. You're going to the plays, you're going to the basketball games, you're watching the marching band on Saturdays at their events. Like it's a community piece. And then you throw on the grading and the lesson planning and the meetings. So yeah, there's those pieces too.
And then you just go home and you put your feet up and you relax for the rest of the evening. No paper grading or lesson planning, right?
Yeah, about that. No, that's not the case for most of us, I can tell you that. But we also have, you know, a campus that's also very involved in the community. And so you have people that are involved politically. You have teachers and staff that are involved in different community service projects. We're here for Greenway and Greenway's community, and I could guarantee that if you walk into any other campus in our district, all the other teachers and education support professionals, they're doing the same thing.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, that brings me to what's happening right now, because I know with social distancing, as you referred to earlier, everything has changed, and we've all noticed that all of a sudden, I think a lot of people are realizing that our schools are not just a hub for education, but they are a hub for our community, and they're a hub for meals for students and all of that. But more is being asked of teachers these days, I understand, to reach out to their students at home. What does that look like, and what are the challenges you're facing with that?
You know, that's an interesting question, because not all students are on a level playing field right now. And so that might look different between my class and another teacher who's teaching the exact same curriculum, but with different kids. It looks different from Greenway High School to when I look over at my husband's high school, where he teaches over at Washington. It really varies, and because we have kids that don't have access to technology, that even though our district did an amazing job on making sure that kids could come in and check out Chromebooks and make sure they have that available, when they get home, it doesn't matter if they don't have Wi-Fi. And so we have a lot of students who haven't been able to access some of this distance learning. That's not just our district; it's every district. I know that we've been working hard to communicate with kids. We've had administrators and social workers go out to students' homes that we're not able to correspond with. They're not responding to emails, things like that, to just make sure they're okay. Because that's a big piece too. We have students who right now, they are not concerned about, you know, can I make it to my online class, because both their parents have been laid off. You know, so I mean, when you look at how we can best work with our students right now, it's making sure that they have those other basic needs met. part of being an educator is really focusing on Maslow's hierarchy, right? Where you have the basic needs that need to be taken care of first, and you have, the sense of safety. You have the sense of belonging. We can't get to those higher levels until we make sure that those bottom rungs are filled, that students do have those basic needs. And what's interesting is we're making sure that kids have those safety pieces. We're checking in on them, making sure that they're safe. We're making sure that they have food. I mean, all of our districts across the state have been working hard to make sure that students have access, like our Title I students have access just to have a meal, because we know that we have kids that come to our schools where that lunchtime meal, that's the one meal that they get.
Mhm.
And so that has been, that social emotional piece is huge. And so we've been really working to make sure that those are covered first, and that then we are able to teach our kids, right?
Right. So you and social workers and counselors are on the phones making calls to students as well as reaching out online to them, it sounds like.
Yes, correct.
And
A lot of phone time.
yeah, I understand that. And about meals, are there ways for students to pick up meals in some of the Glendale Union schools, or is that available in all the schools? How is that working?
Yes, so the Glendale Union High School District does have a meal program for anyone under 18. So they can come up. Our cafeteria workers have been absolutely amazing through this whole thing, because they are continuing to come in every day and prepare the lunches and make sure those are handed out. So, I mean, when we're talking about education, we have to remember that it's not just teachers. We have our education support professionals too that play such a big role in the lives of our students. And this is a big piece of that, and making sure that they're fed.
Absolutely. So for people who are watching this, is there a way that they can either give or get help? What would you recommend that they do?
So as far as giving help, it's a big piece of this is funding, right? And so when we're talking about making sure that kids have technology, when we're talking about making sure kids have access to these types of things, even things like our meal program, I mean, those all cost money. And so the biggest piece to me, the way you can give is by, one, electing people that are pro-public education into office. And then making sure that you are still reaching out to your state legislatures and legislature and those that are representing you to make sure that they know that their constituents want their schools funded. That's a big piece right now.
Absolutely. And it is very possible that the legislature will go back into session. We haven't heard exactly yet, but I'm hopeful that they'll go back into session and provide some much needed funding for our schools, as well as other institutions and organizations that are in desperate need right now.
Correct. And that's something that we're very concerned about, because as it stands, while they have passed the K-12 skinny budget, because the full budget hasn't been passed yet, we don't know what can be taken away from public education. And if we're going to have school systems that are able to still provide what our kids need, and that's a scary time. So, like I said, definitely make sure people are going to the ballot box, and make sure that you're still contacting those that represent you.
Absolutely. And I'll include information in the comments below on links on where they can actually go to contact people to make sure they're advocating for our schools and for our students and for our families. So thank you so much, Amber. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yes, actually, I do. Another huge way that people can help is by signing the Invest in Education Act petitions. Those are still out and about right now. Even though we are practicing social distancing, there are still opportunities to be able to sign that. We are still looking for signatures to get on the ballot. That is something that would help education immensely. And it's something that won't impact the middle class, which is where some of these other non-progressive taxes tend to lie. So we are really pushing to make sure that our schools are taken care of. So if you do have any questions on that, definitely look up the Invest in Education Act. You can get all your information on our website.
Great. Also, I have some petitions, so if people want to sign a petition, let me know. And they can sign a petition. I'll swing by. So Thank you again so much for coming on and being with us and giving us a little window into the world of being a teacher these days. Thank you for your great, great work, Amber. And I hope everybody will join us again next week when my guest will be Mary Lou Michaels, who is the president of the board of One Step Beyond, which is a day program for people who are differently able. That's right here on the edge of our own district. So thank you again, Amber, and bye everybody. See you next week.